Well, as of right now, it looks like Deandre Ayton may officially be a member of the Indiana Pacers. And the Phoenix Suns, their owner, he's had a history in the past of being pretty cheap and not really wanting to play players. But it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, for crying out loud, Chris Paul probably has about 2 years left, really, being still a pretty good overall player, and then that's pretty much it for him. He's gonna be done. And well, I mean, you already your team is already still young. I mean, Devin Booker's a bright star in the NBA. You have Mikal Bridges, and you have DeAndre Ayton, Cam Johnson. You have many good players on your team, but yet you don't want to pay one of your most important assets, one of your most important anchors on your team in DeAndre Ayton. And, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I get it. Some centers, with their style of play, especially Ayton, he's not really a shooter. He's not any of that stuff. But if you look at his numbers, they're not really that bad, for the time that he played in this season. I mean, he's efficient. He does everything a center can do. And I get that many teams don't want to pay a lot of money for centers, especially if they're not shooting three-pointers and they don't really have much of a outside game, And I get it that he's the prototypical center. He's an old school type of player in his play style, and I get all that stuff. But at the same time, what he provides for the Phoenix Suns is still pretty good. I mean, his play's overall good. He's one of the most important players on that team. I mean, without Ayton, the Suns, I believe, they're not even going to be, one of the top seeds in the conference for back-to-back years without Ayton. I think losing him now, it's going to definitely be tough for them. Now that he's on the Pacers especially, it's actually a really good move for the Indiana Pacers in actuality. I mean, they got rid of many players to even get him on the team in the first place. Of course, they're in a rebuilding process, but at the same time, compared to the Phoenix Suns, are crying out loud. The Phoenix Suns have an opportunity to go out and compete in the Western Conference, in a pretty loaded Western Conference, and they're going to basically let that opportunity go if they let Ayton go. And they have 48 hours to really make a decision on, do they want to keep their future and their franchise alive with Ayton on the team and build a future and direction with him and match that contract? Or are they going to just let him go and let their window go? Because if I think you lose Ayton, I don't think that they're going to really go back as far as they did before. And this him and Halliburton, Ayton and Tyrese Halliburton, that will be a really, really good fit, in my opinion. I believe that they can definitely grow and actually do something if they make this deal finally official. But many of us saw this coming for a while now, because they weren't trying to re-sign Ayton for a while now during the regular season. They were not trying to give him a contract extension, and now and he was still roaming around as a free agent. And now look at this, the Pacers are about to sign him. And I believe that for Ayton, he did deserve to have a better contract with the Phoenix Suns. He did deserve a pretty good extension with them. But at the same time, if you don't want to pay the man the money that he definitely, rightfully deserves, because he's played an important role on the development of that team, that's going to be really tough. For crying out loud, they already did let JaVale McGee go as well too, and that was another pretty similar player in the way, but he actually played a pretty good role on that Phoenix Suns team, and he's pretty much gone too, of course. And I believe that for the Indiana Pacers, it's really good though to see that they're trying to really ramp up things, especially after the moves that they did, especially letting Malcolm Brogdon go for practically nothing, and they got first some draft picks obviously and stuff, but I mean, they didn't really get a whole lot, for him, but still, they're in that rebuilding process and in that phase. And by getting Ayton and Halliburton, that's going to be a really good pick and roll duo, and it's definitely going to be something really fun to watch. Can't forget Chris Duarte as well too, is another very, very talented player for the Indiana Pacers. That's going to be a really good team to watch. But, you know, for the Phoenix Suns, they don't really have a big man like that now on this team. Something that they desperately need, because it's not like they have a lot of depth on their roster anyway to begin with. And, you know, losing that big man in Ayton, that's going to be very, very tough for them. And, you know, like I said, they don't have JaVale McGee or anybody like that either. So it's like, you know, really in actuality, they could have, you know, they could have done a sign and trade for like Miles Turner or something like that, because as we all know, Miles Turner was another player for a long time that was in trade talks for a while, and nobody still wants him on the team. So it's just really a lot going on. But for the Phoenix Suns, they are going to take a mean L. I mean, and I don't think they're going to match the deal. I mean, this is the largest offer sheet contract in NBA history. And well, yeah, 4 years, $133 million. And if the Pacers get this man, well, it's going to be a very, very bright future in Indiana. But one more thing, of course, as we know that all of this really means as well, is that, you know, it's going to be even tougher for the Brooklyn Nets to even trade Kevin Durant, because as we all know that Deandre Ayton was in big talks in, you know, trades for getting possibly Kevin Durant. You know, Kevin Durant's been obviously thrown out there for the longest now with teams and him getting traded, and nothing's still really happened yet. And this is going to really make it even more tough now that this move is about to happen. So it's really going to be tough for many teams after this. And for the Suns, it's not going to be easier. For the Nets, it's not going to be easier. But for the Indiana Pacers, this is going to be a win-win.